everybody. Welcome to Know Your Money. I'm Bronwyn Wayner.
And I'm Craig Finch, and we are from Growth Financial Planning. We hope you enjoy our podcast. Today in the studio, we welcome Kalvin van Baalen. Very happy to have you with us, Kalvin. I met Kalvin at our golf club. He's an ambassador at CCJ, and he's got a very unique story to tell us, quite a shocking story when you hear it. So Kalvin, you can maybe tell us what happened to you, and you play golf for Disabled Golf for South Africa, and you're a great golfer. You beat us able golfers every time we play you. I can't believe you hit the ball so far and so accurately. But you have a story to tell us which happened to you a few years ago, and you survived a very bad accident. So what was happening at the time when you had this accident? What were you doing? And can you just give us a bit of a background?
Yeah, thanks, Craig. It's nice to be here and to meet all you people. So basically what happened, Craig knows, I think you know most of the story, but I was 21 at the time, studying. I was third year law. I never really actually wanted to do law. I was kind of keeping my mom happy, living under her house. She wouldn't let me just coast along. And I did paragliding. So I don't know, do you guys know what paragliding is?
I know what it is, but
do you know, Brian?
Yeah. Do you maybe just want to explain? Because maybe some people don't know what paragliding is.
Yeah. Okay. So paragliding, you've got that big like parachute sort of wing, but it's not designed to go down. It's more designed to glide. So you take off and you get a thermal, which is rising air, and you go up. And my longest flight is like 7 hours.
Sure.
In the air. Yeah. I used to fly hundreds of kilometers. My furthest flight's like 300 kilometers.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was my complete passion. I was absolutely obsessed with paragliding. I would actually used to skip school, go to Hearties, fly in the day. That was...
Well, who wouldn't want to be a bird for 7 hours?
Yeah, that's literally what it was. And it's like chest in the air. It's a challenge. Some days you land at the bottom and you fly for 2 minutes, and some days you fly and land on the other side of flipping Rustenburg.
No wonder your mother wanted you to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
GCM.
So it just depends on the air currents and what's going on.
Yeah, so summer's usually better. Obviously it's warmer, you get the cloud. So actually a cloud is like rising air, which then condenses. So you go under the cloud and usually you get a thermal. So, yeah. So...
And when you landed, how did you get home?
You would hope someone had a nice wife to
Hectic.
fetch who was following you along and fetched you. Or we'd fetch each other. So...
Sure.
Yeah, so that was I actually wanted to do that almost professionally. And I don't know if you know in Cape Town where they fly off Signal Hill.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to do.
I have seen that.
Yeah, I wanted to do that. And in our winter, go overseas and go fly in France and Turkey. And that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that came to a very abrupt halt in 2018. I was paragliding in a competition at Barberton. And I'd never actually, everyone that paraglides has broken an ankle or, twisted a wrist on landing. I had never done anything, and I was more comfortable paragliding than walking. And I took off, and it was a normal day. And as I was coming into land, I didn't see a power line. And I hit the power line. I remember everything. I remember getting shocked. It was sort of like I'd never blacked out before. So my whole world just went into a spin, and I passed out. And then I woke up on the ground, and I was still in my harness like this, and all my straps were done, and I was completely on fire. So I had flames like this big, all over my body, and I had to unclip myself, roll away. It's amazing how your survival instinct kicks in. I mean...
Stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah, literally that. And you know how they say you can run 50 k's an hour if you need to run 50 k's an hour. I fully believe that now. And I was there in a random field. I was rolled away, and luckily it was a competition, so they saw me, told the paramedics to come, and they arrived about 15 minutes later. I was lucky that my orthopedic surgeon was actually also a paraglider pilot, and he was there on the scene. So he sort of knew what was going on. And obviously speaking to him now afterwards, he thought I was history. I mean, my skin was white, so human skin and pig skin is quite similar. And when you do a roast pork, it goes white. So that's how cooked I was.
Sure.
And then I got loaded up into the ambulance, and my dad was also on the scene because my dad used to do paragliding. So we have quite a funny joke that when he helped with the stretcher, he actually dropped me on my head.
Oh, shit.
Because he was
In shock.
obviously shaking and
Obviously,
everything.
he's your father.
So like I've just gone through this thing and then and yeah, we were loaded up into the ambulance, and the next 413 days of my life was basically a blur.
413 days.
Did they take you to
That's
Mill
how long I
Park?
spent in ICU.
in ICU?
Yeah.
To Mill Park straight away, Kalvin?
Yeah, they choppered me straight to Mill Park, and then, yeah. When ICU was complete, I didn't know my birthday. I thought my brother was my child.
So you were in a coma for a while.
Pardon?
Or you were in a coma for quite a while.
Yeah, the coma. I think I was in a coma for 6 weeks at the start.
Did they induce that coma though? Or,
Yeah. And then during the course of my stay, like with burns, they've got to do skin grafts, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like when they grafted my bum, I couldn't like lie on it.
Yes.
So they had to put me on my stomach.
Sure.
So then they had to induce another coma for a week so that could heal.
Jeez.
And it was just like multiple, I think I was induced maybe like 3 or 4 times. And then this is from the ventilator. So I had this in for 350 days. Also like they would take it out, then I'd almost die, then they'd put it back in. Then they take it out, then they put it back in. So, yeah.
And what were
a year
you-
of your life, over a year of your life.
Yeah, a year of my life. And I didn't know like anything. It was, all of those meds, it just makes it,
A blur.
yeah, a complete blur. I mean, yeah. And then after that, yeah,
When you were like a little bit,
compass mental.
yes, what were you thinking or feeling, or what did you think about?
I think I must have been delusional because I actually thought like it's not that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I had the accident, I promise you, I was looking at my paraglider that was up in flames, and I was like, shit, I've got to replace this stuff now. And like, how am I going to do that? And like, I'll be flying in the next month, like once I've replaced.
Yeah.
But, like, I didn't know how bad it was, but I think being like that contributed to my recovery.
Yeah.
Because I never for a day thought I'm going to die or I'm not going to walk. Or
You were optimistic the whole time.
yeah, delusionally optimistic. I just said, oh, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk.
I think
one
that's a
day."
great
And where do you
live.
think that mindset came from? Like, have you always been optimistic? Were you
I think-
brought up that
yeah.
way? How did you?
Yeah, I think I have been optimistic, and I think I'm very competitive. I don't know if like maybe I saw it as a challenge, like to get my life back in a way. But
But what I know of you and all the interactions, you are very positive, incredibly positive about everything. It's just amazing. And
Yeah.
you know, like an ambassador for the club, they love you because you've got such a positive outlook to everybody you meet, which is an amazing
yeah,
attribute that you've always had, I think.
yeah. I think a lot of people are, you know, until you're in that moment, you don't know like what you're capable of and what lengths you're willing to go to. I mean, I wasn't the type of person who would be happy living in a wheelchair, playing video games. I was always like, I want to go out, I want to do this, I want to play golf, etc. So
Yeah.
for me, it was quite simple and might sound bad, but it was either get better or kill myself. There
Yeah.
was no
There's no in
sort of-
between.
yeah.
And you had a special relationship with the doctor that helped you, Vicky, was it?
Yeah, I think I've got a special relationship with all my doctors. When someone
Yeah.
saves your life
For so long, yeah.
Yeah, you can never really repay them. So my orthopedic surgeon used to paraglide with me. So him and I had gone on flyways together, shared thermals together, everything. And then my trauma surgeon, she saved me. And then my plastic surgeon, yeah. So those 3.
Sure. That's amazing.
I
now-
think I've had
Wild, man.
42 operations or something.
Wow.
I mean, I hope one day I'm older than the amount of operations I've had. So I'm currently 27 with 42 ops or something.
Wow.
So maybe at 50-ish.
You'll feel like you're at a level field.
Yeah.
And when did you start playing golf?
So I played golf before, but sort of just I played a bit for school, and then like we got on holiday, play a bit there. But now that I can't really run, like I used to play a lot of squash. I was very fit. That actually helped with my survival. If I wasn't as fit as I was, I would have died. But I can't do squash. And yeah, golf was like, okay, I can do this. And obviously being competitive, it's like I can do this well enough to compete. And
It'll
that's
satisfy your competitive.
Yeah, otherwise I would have had to
yeah.
take up chess, and I think I would have been pretty useless at that.
But you also said to me you could have qualified for the deaf golf and gone to the Olympics.
Yeah, that was just the other day. So there's a criteria, and I just basically am not quite deaf enough.
How much of your hearing have you lost?
I don't know how it works, but this left ear was 55 and this ear is 50. So I think if you have perfect hearing, it's 0.
Right.
So I'm 55 worse and 50 worse.
Have you learned to read lips a bit then?
Either that or
fill in
just
the blanks.
ask people to speak louder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wanted me to get a hearing aid, but I just said, it's sort of, if someone's speaking directly to me, it's not really a problem.
Yeah.
But if they're behind me, if my girlfriend tries to speak at night where there's no light, then it's like,
Don't know what to
kind
say.
Yeah, you can kind of fill in the
I
blanks
think
when
so,
someone's talking. Yeah.
You pick up on it,
Yeah.
So golf doesn't qualify for the Paralympics yet?
No, disabled, like physical limitations, not yet.
Not yet,
No.
okay.
Yeah, there's just too many categories, I think.
Yeah.
How would I compare against one leg? And then they need to have below knee, above knee. There's so many different things. Yeah, they haven't.
Well, I think it's unfair that you compete against me in your current state anyway, because you always take the odd money that we play for. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And Kalvin, when it came to all those surgeons and the medical aid, what plan were you on? Were you on your parents' medical aid?
Yeah. So I was on my mom's medical aid, thank goodness. Otherwise, also, so in South Africa, if you have, I think, more than 50% burns, they palliate you if you go to a government hospital. So they just let you die.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're going to use too many state resources and they just let you die. So thank goodness for that. And I think I was on quite a good plan, not the top, but like a reasonable plan. And they actually, I'm on medical aid, so not really well known. But they actually sent my trauma surgeon an email saying that I'm a non-recoverable case.
Wow.
And they would like her to kill me, palliate me. Yeah.
Wow. And she wrote
Was
back.
this at the beginning of?
Yeah, this
of
was right at the beginning, like first week. They said like, why is she trying to save me?
Really?
Yeah, that's what they said.
And do you know if you had gap cover?
No, I don't think we had gap cover, but I'm not completely clued up with the regulations, but I think they have to pay for everything in ICU. So I think I've got the highest, they said I've got the highest individual medical aid bill in the whole country. It's sitting at like 22 million or something.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what and then people come and they say, oh, your medical aid pay, they must have been great. And I'm like, no, they have to pay.
Yeah.
If you read all those T's and C's, you don't take medical aid so they can decide if they want to pay.
And decide if you live or die. Yeah.
Yeah, they have to pay it. Then with the stuff after ICU,
Yes.
that's when they became ridiculous.
Sticky.
They wanted me to go to rehab for a week. For 1 week. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even.
How long has it taken you with rehab to get to where you are now? Are you still doing
I'm
rehab?
always in a constant state of rehab. Yeah. But I'd say 3 years to get to like a walking, where I could play a golf, sort of get around the shops.
You could live again.
Yeah, I spent 2 years in a wheelchair. So, yeah, and then stuff like rehabs, they didn't want to pay for, even physio. I mean, I think they were ridiculous because they could have used me as such a good advert.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have had the highest medical aid, like we provide the best.
Yes.
And then they didn't.
It sets you up.
They wouldn't pay for out of rehab physio. And they wouldn't pay for, like at a point I was looking at a prosthetic leg. They wouldn't like even entertain that idea.
Are you still with him now?
Yeah, I think I sort of have to be with them. I mean, I don't see another medical aid taking me on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually a good question because my girlfriend asked me about it like literally last night. She said, what if I go into her medical aid? She's with Discovery, it'll be easy. And I'm like,
They're not
babe,
going
I
to
don't
take me
think
out.
you're thinking
So
this
a
through.
medical aid can't decline you cover, but they can impose waiting periods, and I think that's
Yes, that's what
would
I
be scary.
Is that a legislation thing they
Yeah.
can't decline? Okay.
You can't deny anyone medical aid,
Yeah.
but
they
you
might
can
say,
have a 12 or 3-month waiting
Yeah.
period
Can
for
you-
any existing conditions.
And just to understand, so given that you may still, let's say it was a year ago, 2 years ago that you were trying to change medical aids, whatever. If he had obviously an existing condition, would they do the waiting periods, or would his monthly membership fee be more?
No, waiting period.
Waiting period. So you only get a
Late joiner penalty.
okay, go.
Yeah. So late joiner penalty after 35 years old, I think. So that you avoid that because of your age as well. So and you've been on a medical aid as well all the way through. So they can't. There's no late joiner. You're already on.
Right.
But you can impose the waiting period, a 3-month general waiting period or a 1-year specific. I mean, they'd have to exclude almost everything for you because of
I think my
Except flu,
dad,
maybe.
he actually had a backup. my dad had a backup, and I think he didn't disclose that he went to a doctor like 3 months before he changed medical aids.
Yeah.
And they tried to pin that whole thing that
on,
he didn't disclose everything. And
I think unfortunately with insurance in general, and medical aid being medical insurance, you will always get some companies with some people working there who are trying to find ways to get out of paying, aren't you?
I don't know. I mean, I suppose they look at it and go, we didn't expect a 20 million rand claim.
Yeah.
So, we hoped, especially a young, healthy person, we didn't want to have any claim.
Yeah.
But what happened to your gym? You didn't go to gym in that year.
So I went to gym like 5, even more times a week. I knew everyone at the gym by name. And then one day I just stopped coming to the gym, obviously. And you would think that some alarm bells would start ringing after maybe a week or a month or something. And they just kept billing my account into the ground. And at that stage, I think I had like 3 grand in my account. And after 14 months, that was gone. And they kept billing my account, and the debit orders kept popping. So when I came out of hospital, I was in like 1,000 rand arrears with my account because of... And then I approached them and they didn't want to hear any of it. They just said, not our problem, sorry. Yeah.
So I think, Kalvin, if you were 21 again, what would you do differently? Or what advice do you have for young students who are, from a financial perspective, if you could do it differently, what would you do? Or
I told them not, I think a lot of people,
paraglide into
I'd say like avoid the power line, open your eyes. I think quite a lot of people are taking things like a bit seriously. I don't know if that's good advice, but I think going through everything, I've realized that your whole life can change in the blink of an eye. And, there were a lot of things that I almost didn't get to do in my life because I almost died. So I'd say you've literally only got one life, and get out there, take the risk, do something that scares you, get out of your comfort zone. And financially, probably not the right person to ask, but again, go on that holiday, have fun, you're young, you don't have kids, you don't actually have responsibilities at 21, so...
And if you could, would you have taken out a policy? Or do you think you wouldn't have?
Yeah, but that's like a super easy question. I would have taken out the biggest disability policy in the world.
That's in hindsight.
Yes.
But at that moment, what we're trying to do on this podcast is to help encourage people to know that anything can happen.
Yeah.
And there are things in this financial industry that can help prevent those kind of things happening in life. And often people are exactly like, at that age, every 21-year-old doesn't think that that's going to happen to them.
I don't think so. I think I'm also actually studying finance. So I'm starting my CFA next year. And I like to think I'm quite a logical person. And I would say no. I was 21, I was fit, healthy, etc., etc. And even having a medical aid, I don't feel like in the long run, what are the stats with medical aids paying off? Do you pay more than you receive, or do you receive more than you pay? Obviously, I received my investment paid off in a bit of a big way.
Yeah.
But I think most people, it's the other way around.
But
it's that what if, and that's why you have it.
So there are plans out there that you can cover yourself, even as a student, for loss of income. So the year you were in hospital, there are companies that would have covered a monthly amount, which would have helped your parents as well. Also, in the future
given
as well.
Circumstance, it is good that you had medical aid. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the way it all works. I'm really not.
Yeah.
But I think had the choice been between a government hospital in that situation where you said they choose to go palliative, whatever it is, or the fact that you're still sitting here and playing golf with Craig, having medical aid clearly worked. But
And the thing is, the more people on those plans, the more those companies can build up those reserves for those people that need it. For that 20 million rand that needed to go to you. Yes, I might be paying in it and not using it, but what if? And that's why they have that pool, and that's why how it works. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate having you here and for you to share your story with us.
Thanks,
so
Kalvin.
much.
See you on the golf course soon.
Awesome, Vinci.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this podcast, would like to subscribe, please visit our website, www.growthfp.co.za. The information we have provided in this podcast is our personal opinion. For more detailed information, please discuss your financial situation with a financial planner.